Naruto was traveling to his secret training area, which was located far from the village. He wanted a place far away from the village in order for him not to be bothered by anyone. He had a lot of plans that he didn't want anyone to know about, including his teammates and the villagers. He had found it when he met his first and true sensei that no one had even know about. Not even the Hokage had known that Naruto was keeping things from him. He had kept much from the old man, even so he did care for the old time. He simply knew that developing his strength in secret was preferable. Additionally, he was aware that the elderly man would not approve of his plans to grow stronger. It was something he would forbid, which was why he had kept it a secret from him. He didn't want to hurt the old man, only that he had known he had to become stronger if he wanted his plans to come together perfectly. When he got close to the area, he stared to hear noises that were made nearby him. These noises he could tell were made by another person, not one of the animals that lived here. He took a peek just to see who it was inside his training area. This place was somewhere only he had known, so he started to question if this person was even from Konoha. Over the years he had seen no one in these areas beside his sensei, even so he didn't like that someone found his area. He didn't want to have to kill someone, only if he did then he would, because he had to keep this place a secret from everyone in this world no matter what. His eyes had landed on a woman leaving the warm water. She was bare to the whole world. Her long black raven hair and her red lovely eyes caused him to realize who she was. She was Team 8's sensei, Kurenai. He only had seen her a few times over since he had become a genin. His eyes stared even lower at her large breasts and nipples. He slowly walked out into the opening. He did wonder just what she would do once she noticed him, only he just smirked. He was determined not to let this opportunity pass him by because he would love it so much. When she noticed him, she had jumped back into the water, surprised to see him. He just kept his smirk and he walked to the start of the water. He looked down at her, only he started to come up with a few plans on what to do next. He wanted to put the things his sensei had shown him to the test, and this was the ideal opportunity for him to do so. He was going to love using them on someone for the first time, but he was unsure if he could pull it off perfectly. "Why in the world are you doing here, Uzumaki-san? Shouldn't you be training with your sensei or teammates for that matter?" she asked him with a glare on her face. She was upset that he had seen her bare naked, and that's something only a very few people had got the chance to see. No matter what, she would not allow him to see her in that state of nudity. "First off, this is my training area that you happen to be in. I should be the one asking you why you are here in my training area," he replied back to her. His smirk never once left his face at all, much to her dislike. "When you first became a shinobi in this village, how is this your training area?" Regardless of his response, she continued to glare at him, saying, "After all, you are just a genin." Worse yet, she was worried what he would tell people about what he had seen. She couldn't have him telling people that he had seen her wet and naked like that. She still had a blush on her face from the fact she had let her guard down that easily. She was known as the Ice Queen for a reason, and she couldn't let this genin tell them about what her naked body looked like. He could start making lies up and use this as proof, which could ruin her whole name and have people thinking worse of her than they already did. That was because she turned down every single man that asked her out. "How can you prevent yourself from telling anyone that you saw me in this state?" Naruto's smirk had grown even bigger while his eyes watched her. His tongue licked his lips, only his mind had come up with a wonderful idea. "For starters, you need to come out of the water and then we can start to talk. I'm not going to speak while you are still in the water like that." Kurenai wanted to yell at him so badly. She did know that at this point she had no choice in anything because he had all the cards against her. She moved slowly out of the warm water, leaving her once more wet and naked in front of his blue eyes. Once she was face to face with the 15-year-old genin who just become a genin. She frozen when he had started to pace around her like she was his prey. His eye watched her, only he stopped once more in front of her crimson eyes. She jumped when she felt his finger rub up against her right nipple. She had no idea what he was planning, only that she wanted to slap him so badly. She moved her hand, only she stopped at the last moment before doing it. "What the hell do you think you are doing, you damn pervert?" She gave him a deadly glare, but all he did was laugh. She didn't know why he was making fun of her, but she didn't like it at all. "Kurenai-chan, didn't you ask me what it would take to keep me silent? You seem to be enjoying this very much, Kurenai-chan," Naruto said as he moved his lips to her right ear and gently touched her womanhood with his finger. "Don't tell me you forget so easily now." Before she could say anything, he had whispered in a strange and unknown kind of language that she never heard before. Right after he had finished, her body had felt a raging hot, mainly in her lower area. She didn't understand why she was feeling so hot and somewhat horny. Naruto pressed his mouth firmly and roughly against her mouth, saying, "Now just stand there and enjoy this like a good little horny girl." He was going to show her things she had never seen or felt in her life. knowing that by the time he was done with her, she would be completely his to do as he pleased. His tongue moved inside her mouth while his finger slipped slowly inside of her. He hit and rubbed every single weak spot that she had. She started to moan hard into his mouth, only she couldn't believe how he was making her feel. When he put two more in her, that caused her to move her head back to moan out loudly. That alone had given away that she was losing herself to him, only for him to smirk. His mouth moved down to suck and lick her right nipple while he played with her tight little womanhood. He played with her moist little hole till she had her first orgasm of the day. That may have been the first, but it wasn't going to be the last one. He would give her more by the time the day had ended. Kurenai-chan, now you will get on your knees and suck my cock. She did what she was told to do, only there was part of her that was still against his idea. She had just told herself that she had to do it to avoid him speaking of this to anyone in the village. She undid his pants and pulled both his pants and boxers down. Her eyes stared shocked at the size that he had. She never had seen someone with this size before, and she didn't even know if it would fit in her mouth. Her hand moved over to the large tool in front of her in order to feel it with her hand. She could feel how thick and hard his member was, and she was even more concerned that it would be too big to fit in her mouth because her boyfriend was so small that it hardly gave her any orgasms at all. She could notice that his eyes were staring down at her, yet his hands moved to the back of her head. He wasn't going wait all day, and she had fully well known that. She moved her mouth to the tip of his cock and slowly she kissed it. Her tongue moved to flick out against the tip in order to taste him. She started to like the taste of him, only her tongue moved up and down his shift. She had soon found herself sucking on the tip while her hands played with his balls softly. She gradually stopped caring if this was incorrect and allowed herself to suck more of his tool, even though she could only fit half of it in her moist mouth. To her increasing delight, she found herself enjoying both the size and the taste of his large cock. He was loving the way her tongue had worked on his long hard member. He started to use his hands to push down on her head to make her take even more of him. Once she gabbed on him, he let go only with a smirk on his face. That's enough, and now get on your hands and knees. You are going to be fucked hard by me because you are my little play toy. He kept smirking down at her. She didn't know why, but all of her inner desires were emerging on their own as her eyes stared up at him despite her best efforts to resist them. She slowly dropped to her hands and knees, as if she had been told in the dirt, and then looked back up at him, her crimson eyes glowing with lust. He moved behind her and started to rub his member against her moist hole. He could feel just how wet she was, only that made him enjoy this even more. He watched as his spell caused all of the desires she had been locking up to come pouring out of her. Ever since he had first met Kurenai, he could tell that she had locked it all away, even if he thought that was foolish. He could also tell that it was to show that she was a well-mannered woman who didn't need a man at all in her life. He was enjoying seeing everything play out in front of him as she struggled to fight against herself and lost so badly that he began pushing in all the way, hitting her body hard with pleasure and pain. He could feel just how tight her hole was. He kissed his teeth. He was trying to move in and out of her fast, only it was so tight against his tool. His hands moved over to her large breasts. He started to play with them softly at first. He enjoyed the feel of her breasts against his fingers, only the dress had made them look smaller than they really were. He increased his speed, but only by using a lot more force behind each thrust he made inside her. He could tell by the lustful expression on her face that she was enjoying it. He began to slowly slow down, which made her look back at him, wondering why he had stopped, even though she didn't want him to. It's no fun if you don't show me just how much you want it, Kurenai-chan. Beg me to fuck you. Beg like a good horny sensei that you truly are. He had ordered her with a smirk showing. He wanted her to gradually give in to him and become his new plaything. He didn't just want to win without savoring every moment. He wanted to savor every moment before she became his devoted pet and obeyed all of his commands. Please keep fucking this horny sensei like the slut that she really is, she pleaded with him. That had earned her even more thrusts being made inside of her wet tight puss. Her voice went from begging to howling in pure pleasure that she was feeling. She moved back against him with each thrust that he had made. She had thrust back to match it. Everyone thinks of you as a well-mannered woman. Even though you are really just a horny bitch, Kurenai-chan, you will be mine and mine alone. No other man will ever touch your slutty horny body like I will. Naruto grabbed both sides of ass and spanked them hard enough to leave red marks behind. Tell me, do you find it enjoyable to have your ass sapped in that manner? He had asked her and watched her head shake yes back over to him. Yes, I do enjoy it very much, and please do it more to me. I want it even more, so please give me it. Naruto laughed before he spanked each cheek once more while thrusting. He started to thrust even deeper inside of her, feeling all the way inside her. She was slowly starting to finally lose her mind to the pleasure she was being given. She never been with someone so big and having his way with her so badly. He didn't care if he was being rough with her, only that she belonged to him. Slowly she had started to truly belong to this younger man. She had started to wonder if it would be so bad to be his pet if he could make her body feel this good. The more she wondered, the harder she moved against him, matching every thrust he made with the same amount of force behind it, and this alone had begun to make her moan even louder for him. He began to quicken the pace even further as his hands moved back down to her enormous breasts, twisting her hard nipples between his two fingers, one for each hand. He had to admit that she had an incredible pair of breasts for him to play with. He could feel how tight and wet her walls felt around his tool. She moaned out his name in mix of pleasure and pain. She could feel himself getting closer to her next orgasm. The speed and how deep he was going was causing her to grow more lustful and for more of his hard big cock. She wanted. No, she needed even more from him, and even more she wanted his tool. The horny slut is finally showing who she really is, and now you can enjoy this even more and longer now. He moved her legs out wider to move in much easier. He felt the base of his member hitting the entrance of her moist dripping wet hole. The loud clapping sound that accompanied each thrust he made inside her allowed them to hear how wet she was, and he could see her sweet fluids flowing over his tool and down her leg. He enjoyed watching it all and wanted her even more, wanting to play with her body whenever he could. "I can't hold it anymore, Naruto-kun," she screamed out. "Then don't hold back anymore. Show me that you're my slut," he whispered softly, moving his lips to her ear. "That you will submit to me like a good slut because you are my fucking lustful bitch." She let herself release all over his big dick, yet she could feel his hot seed. It was rushing inside of her, making her move her head back, enjoying the warm feeling. "We aren't done yet because this will be a very long day for you. Now clear your master's cock off like a good slut," he had told and ordered her. She turned around, still on her hands and knees, stating to clean him off with her mouth. She could taste the mix of both of their tastes together. It was a taste that she truly loved to taste, and she wanted even more. "I'll make sure to clean every single inch of it, master. I want to thank you for all the pleasure you have given me." She fulfilled her promise, licking and sucking every inch of him. He could feel her mouth sucking on his balls one at a time, and he could even feel her tongue moving down to his balls. After she finished, he pushed her up against a tree and began to have sex with her. This was the beginning of several rounds between them. Once she passed out from hours of sex, he just moved to a hidden pathway near them and opened it by chanting. Once the doorway of the stone slide opened, he went back to her. He slowly picked her up and moved inside his base. Once inside, the path sealed up again behind him to hide the way to his base. He placed her on the only bed in the room and went to his work desk, which was covered in books, papers, and numerous magic symbols. He simply grinned before settling in to begin studying. "I truly love black magic that you showed me, sensei, and I hope you visit again because I do miss that body of yours," he said to himself while he kept working on his studies. He wanted to learn even more of this black magic and alchemy that she showed him. Naruto continued to work and study as hard as he could, wanting to make his first sensei proud of him because he did enjoy the rewards she had given him over the years she had trained him. He had turned to his black leather book, which contained a great deal of information that he had yet to learn. She taught him a variety of techniques, such as how to use these magic chants, how to actually make a woman groan in pleasure, how to deprive a woman of her free will, and how to make them your pet. He quickly picked up all of this knowledge from her, and he eventually wanted to make his sensei his pet. He kept on studying and looking up new ways to use his magic and how to strengthen the ones he already had known. He didn't want to keep using weak magic all his life. He wanted to learn how to keep growing stronger. He only had stopped his studying when he heard Kurenai start to wake up hours later. He looked over to see Kurenai standing back on her feet and walked over to him. "So that all really happened, Naruto master?" When she finally came all the way to him, he began to rub her nice round ass with his hand after she asked him, to which he nodded his head. She had reflected on everything that had transpired and realized that she was his, and only his, property. To be honest, she didn't know how it had happened, but the way he had made her groan and claimed her, she had given in to being his little play toy. He had sent a clone to go pick up her clothes that were still outside. With his eyes moved back to his books. These were the books that would make him one of the strongest people in this world, because black magic was something far scarier than any jutsu. It was something that could make things that seem impossible possible. "Master, what kind of books are these? I have never seen anything like these before in my whole life," she asked because she had no idea what they were. "These are books on black magic or witchcraft, you can say. The other ones are books on alchemy, which is a very nice thing to learn," he told her before he spanked her rear a few times with his hand. "Just who showed you all of this?" "That's because I never heard of these things at all, and I don't know who could have showed you all this stuff." She asked him once more only for him to look back at her. I had two true senseis who taught me all of this, and I can't tell you about the one who taught me black magic. Ivy is the one who taught me the great art of alchemy, and she's very skilled with a whip sword. He grinned, but he did really like Ivy's body when they were last together. Ivy's blonde hair was very short, and she loved spending time with his dark art master on his bed every night that she stayed with him. She also had an incredible chest. She was the one who taught him everything there was to know about demons and the magic that could be used to summon them, control them, or even blind them to his own will. He loved learning about all of it, even the most evil aspects, because he enjoyed spending time with her. He also liked that he had a few demons that were his own. After glancing at her body, Naruto approached her and gave her a slow neck kiss, saying, "Tell me how much of you belongs to me." He already knew the answer when he asked her. "All of me belongs to you, master, and you can do whatever you want to do, anytime, also anywhere you want me," he replied. "Indeed, you are my little slut, and nothing will ever make that change. My clone is getting you your clothes even so. I do have a small gift for you which I know you will enjoy it." He smirked and moved her down on the bed before he moved her legs out. She hoped he wasn't in the mood for more sex because she didn't know what he was going to do and her body was still extremely sore from all the times he had thrust hard inside of her. "This little tattoo will make sure no one will ever put their dick in you because if they do it will wella be gone for good." He grinned evilly as he began to chant and then moved two of his fingers above her womanhood, causing a mark that resembled a tattoo of a cute little fox to appear over it. "This part is my gift for you, my little pet, because it will make you stronger once you realize how to use it." He continued to grin before returning to his chair. He then moved his mouth to her neck before biting down, creating another seal that resembled the previous one but was more like a fox head. "Master, is it okay if I return to the village right now?" She informed him. "I have a meeting with the Hokage-sama along with the rest of the genin team leaders," but all he did was give her a strange look. "When you're by yourself with me and not with anyone else." He waved her back to him after saying, "You never call anyone else Sama because I'm the only person you answer to and obey." She got to her feet and moved over to him, which he just moved her on his lap and started to play with her beasts. He pulled on her nipples lightly to cause some pleasure to go to her body before he spanked both her breast hard. "Never forget that or I'll have to give you punishment, do you understand, my little bitch?" He just asked her. "I am sorry, master, and I understand, master. You are my one and only master and I will only obey what you tell me to do," she told him. Her crimson eyes looked up at him, which he just rubbed her breasts once more to earn a moan from her. "You may go to this useless meeting and tonight we will move your stuff from your house to the house that is nearby here. That will be your new home, and do you understand me, Kurenai-chan?" he asked again. "Yes, master, and thank you for letting me move into a new home. I appreciate you helping me move my belongings tonight as well, but how are you aware of my residence?" She didn't know how her master had discovered that, so she asked him again. "The seal I gave you that marked you as my bitch, my little slut, is also the seal that let me see all of your memories. Even the times you played with few other women, which I may add do look very sexy." She blushed deeply because he had seen all of her past like that. She didn't even know what to say back to that. Before he left in a cloud of smoke, the clone entered the room, laid the clothes on the bed, and said, "Before I let you go, Kurenai-chan, you will do your duty and get on your knees in front of me." She followed instructions. She got on her knees and pulled down his pants and boxers once more. She noticed that he was semi-hard already. Her mouth moved to the lip before she started to lick and suck on it. She started to truly love the taste of her master's big fat cock. She moved her large breasts around his tool once it was fully hard and started to rub them against him hard. She moved them up and down on his hardened member with her mouth still sucking, trying to take as much as she could in her mouth. She didn't know what it was, only that she wanted more and more of his dick. Only his, no one else made her desire it this much before. "You better drink all of it and not let a single drop get wasted, or you will just have to be punished later by me," he cautioned her. Kurenai couldn't believe how much this had turned her on, but she persisted in sucking and rubbing her breasts against him until he had blown his load inside her waiting mouth, swallowing every drop without letting any go to waste as he had instructed. "Good girl, now get changed and go to that meeting because I have to meet up with my so-called team now." What a waste of time. Before she stood up, he watched her pull up his pants and boxers. She was a wonderful pet, and he had hoped that all of his pets would be as well-mannered and obedient as she was. She listened to him and obeyed him without any response or back talk, which led him to believe that she was submissive and wanted to be owned by someone. He had to admit that for a new pet, she did quickly learn where her place was and what her duties were. She moved over to the bed and placed her clothes back on her body with her tongue still licking her lips. She didn't know why, yet she wanted to drink even more of his load and hoped that she could drink more of it soon. "I'll see you tonight, master, and I promise I won't be late getting back to my house," she told him before she bowed and left the base. "Isn't it nice to have someone with that kind of power, Naruto-sama?" Naruto turned to face a woman who had entered his base shortly after Kurenai had left. "You are really becoming someone that the world will fear." He turned to face her, who had long silver hair that reached her feet, 2 dark orange eyes that could pass for light red eyes, some silver hair that fell down in the front, covering a portion of her neck and occasionally even both of her eyes, and 5 red flower petals in her hair that appeared to be a hair clip. She had a red kimono with pink flowers that ran down the kimono. She had a black strap around her stomach with a green-colored cloth that tied around her to keep it closed. In his mind, she didn't even need to wear that around him at all. Her shoulders, upper arms, and a significant portion of her cleavage were exposed by the way she wore the kimono, especially considering that her breasts were enormous and could rival Tsunade's. He did enjoy seeing her body in front of him because he enjoyed her more without any clothes on at all. He had planned to enjoy that same thing right there and then, yet his eyes looked down at her legs. She had a long slit in her over her left leg that let her leg be showed to the world. It also let her move around it and much easier because of how much room it gave her. If you looked right at the top where the slit started from, you could see part of her white panties that showed. "What do I get out of the great Shinano Mizuki coming to see me like this?" He started to tease her before he stood up. "You do know that house of yours is my inn, which I do allow you to live at," she told him before her mouth was covered by his. "You forget to belong to me, my dear, or did you forget that I'm only one that you fucked that you can't seem to get enough of? How many people that visited your inn slept with you and how many made you feel the way that I did? That was why you turned the inn into a female inn, only because of the fact you can't seem to enjoy anyone else's dick beside my cock, which you know that for a fact," he told her, which she just blushed and looked away. Since she had Naruto stay at her inn and she had slept with him, she had slept with many of the guests because it was one of her lady duties to make the guests happy. Not long after, she became his first pet, and the inn became a female-only inn because he had forbidden her from sleeping with any other man while he was there. She put a lot of effort and time into her inn, and she never wanted it to be ruined because it was her life's work. People loved seeing the hard-working image she created for herself and her gentle yet soft voice when she spoke to them, which was one of her main motivations for living. Because her guests were women, she was still permitted to have sex with them. "So, my dear master, will we be having a new person living with us?" she smiled as she asked. "Yes, we will, and you should be happy because it was getting lonely ever since I helped you rebuild it into a very massive size inn," he informed her before he tugged the kimono's tie open for him, saying, "When I first met you, the inn was very small up inside a hidden mountain, and now you have one that is still hidden away with much larger size." Before the kimono fell off her body, she looked at him and said, "Your sensei would be very proud of you, master." She had white underwear and cloth bandages around her breasts that served as a bra, which he simply took off before reclaiming her body. He went to see his team after having a good time, but he really didn't care what was the point. And he thought it was a joke to refer to them as his team because he didn't even like them. He didn't even believe Sakura knew any jutsu, and Sasuke was so bloodthirsty against his older brother that he didn't even know how to fight or what it meant to perform their duties in this village. He didn't know why he was stuck with them as teammates, but he had to put up with it until his plans were ready. After that, he wouldn't have to deal with any of these stupid people anymore, and he would be much happier with his life. He assumed he would be late for Kurenai's meeting, so after arriving, he simply sat down with his team to wait for their sensei to arrive. Since he had already had a very full day and it was only into the afternoon, he just sat down and began to rest. "I still say that Shinano-chan is much better than this Kurenai girl, even so they both do have sexy bodies, don't they?" she informed him, but all he wanted was for the fox to stop talking for a day. No matter what he did, he would hear her voice each day about something he did or something he didn't do. He didn't know why she had to be such a pain in the rear to him because he really didn't understand this Kyuubi at all. "She is very good pet and can help with my plans for what I have to start doing soon. Conversely, Shinano was my favorite pet. She helped me with money from the inn and her body is still the best there is," he spoke back to the fox. When it came to Shinano, he had strong feelings for her but would never show it because he refused to show any weakness at all. This was the one thing his sensei had taught him, to never show love or weakness for anyone. He did, in a way, truly care for his pets. He did care for them with his heart. Although he could see that his sensei had a look on his face that didn't look good for them at all. Kakashi simply gave his cliched excuse for being late when he finally got there, and Naruto simply glanced at him before approaching the other members of the team. He assumed it had something to do with the meeting Kurenai had to attend, but she didn't explain it to him. He knew that a look like Kakashi's wasn't good, and this meeting had to be something very serious. I'll tell you one thing, that tomorrow your lives will change because next mission isn't going to be easy. Together, teams 8, 7, and 10 will embark on a mission. He forewarned them, but he didn't anticipate that one. This is the beginning of what could turn into a full-out war. He had too much work to put into his plans, and he wasn't going to let that be ruined because of some idiot who started this whole mess with this village or whatever had been going on. A war with anyone now could ruin his plans for the future, and he didn't want that to happen no matter what. He could tell his two so-called teammates were both deeply shocked and asking tons of questions at him. He just shook his head and watched the whole thing just unfold, yet Kakashi just kept telling them that they would learn more tomorrow at the meeting. He watched Kakashi take Sasuke away to train him, which he assumed would happen as usual, and he saw that he had planned for them to work alone today, which made him roll his eyes. The council did have more power in this village than it should, in contrast to the other villages where they don't, and Kakashi had informed him that the council members were pressuring him to train Sasuke exclusively in that manner, which he couldn't hold the one-eyed Jonin responsible for. This was the first thing he intended to change when he eventually made his move. He just did his own training before the team went home for the day, which he started to head for Kurenai's place to wait for her. He had started to try to come up with new ideas to just what he would do to her next because he enjoyed his new pet. He cared for all his pets, even so Kurenai had caused him to enjoy this much more than normal. Because of the seal, he had already seen all of her past, and he simply smirked at the memories he saw after sneaking in through the window he had chosen. In some of the memories, she had slept with a few women, primarily Anko, whom he hoped to meet soon. He began to think of a good way to make Anko his new pet because he knew what she wanted, and he knew that one thing would be his easy way to get in her pants. He went to lie down on the living room couch and remained there until he heard her move in. When she saw her master on her couch, she closed the door and approached him grinning. "Is there anything I can do for you, master? I mean, do you just want me to bend over for you once more like before?" she asked him in a flirty tone. "You can start by packing all your shit up and also by putting something better on your body than this dress of yours," he told her with a bored look on his face. "Very well, master." She moved to the bedroom to change into something better while he made clones to box up her stuff. He did wonder how good of an outfit she would put on her body for him. She began taking off her usual clothes as soon as she entered her room, and when she was only wearing her bra and black underwear, she looked in the mirror and began to gradually think of a good idea for her master, even though she still liked calling him that. She genuinely loved the idea of being his pet, but she wasn't even sure why. It was something that every time she thought back on how he made her feel and how well he played with her body like that, it had caused her to smile and want more from him, and she wanted to feel that way even more of the time. She needed to be happy and she needed to feel that good from his touch even more. Before heading to her dresser, she noticed that she was drenched after taking off her bra and underwear. She wanted him to be pleased with what she had chosen, so she made sure that whatever she had put on would make him very happy and perhaps even earn her a reward. He simply smirked and walked over to her when she returned wearing a very short black dress that exposed her chest, revealing a lot of her cleavage and the fact that she was not wearing a bra. The dress ended right past her rear, so if she moved too much, you could see her bare ass because she wasn't even wearing underwear. "Is the master pleased with my choice of new attire?" she smiled as she asked him. "Yes, I do, and let's get packing so I can play with you once we get home." He smirked and grabbed her rear hard. His mouth moved against her even harder while their tongues just played with each other. He was surprised that he had learned to make sealing scrolls at his age, but she was grateful because it meant no moving boxes and all the extra work that would come with it. They kissed goodbye and began packing up her belongings in sealing scrolls, which made a lot of things much easier. After finishing, they heard her front door open, which made them both turn to face each other. They then saw that Anko had entered, and she simply glared at Naruto before giving Kurenai a very malevolent grin. As she looked at them, Anko joked, "I didn't know you were into younger boys like that, Kurenai-chan, and no wonder you never said yes to any men our own age. What if I told you I had a good deal for you? You have to be Anko-chan, right?" He grinned as he took a seat on the couch, moved Kurenai onto his lap, and then simply lifted her dress to reveal her femininity and the kitsune tattoo, which indicated that he was her master and owner. "What kind of deal is that, Gaki?" She glared at him, unhappy that he was doing that to her friend in front of her. "What if I had a way of removing that little tattoo of yours on that neck?" He smirked because he didn't know what it was and how to remove it. His eyes could see the shock look come across her face right before she looked away. "There is nowhere a genin like you could even know how to bring this. Dude, don't try to bullshit me like that," Anko told him in very harsh way, which he just grinned. He figured she wouldn't believe him right off the bat because of his age and foolish of how people think age even matter. Age means nothing when it comes to power, and how well you can use that powers comes from being trained, not by being older. His sensei just happened to be very skillful at training him, and he learned so much from her and others. That will be where you are wrong, and I can remove the curse seal. I know reason why no one else couldn't, and I may be a genin by this village's eyes, but in power-wise I'm far past a simple-minded genin. Naruto replied back to her. Why does she have a fox tattoo on her neck, and why would you want this removed? There. As her gaze shifted to her lower body, which Naruto was flaunting to her, she asked. Because she is my pet, these two marks demonstrate that she is mine in every sense of the word. He paused to observe the purple-haired woman's thoughts. The one on her neck gives her new strengths she can learn if she can learn them, that is, think of it as me giving her nice power boost. The one above her nice pussy that I have already fucked, is the mark that showed she belongs solely to me. It will also rip off any dick that ever goes inside her pussy that doesn't belong to me, he said, grinning so broadly that Anko was shocked to learn that her friend was his pet and that he had effectively made an anti-rape mark. What do I want? Well, let me start by asking you how much you think it would be worth to be free of him. He asked her this time around. Anko didn't know how to answer that because she wanted to be free of her past and her old sensei. She didn't want this village to keep treating her the way that they have been all these years since he turned on the village. She just looked at him, yet his blue eyes just seemed so very cold to him, no longer that happy idiot self she used to see in the past. What happened to you, Gaki? The joyful fool I remember so well, where is he now? What have you become? Anko asked out of shock. She didn't know how he could have changed so much, so she put the blame on this village, figuring it had to be all the anger and hatred this village had given him for something he couldn't even control. I would do anything to get rid of this curse and anything related to that bastard. Even so, even if all he did was stare back at her, she told him, I won't agree to anything until you tell me what the hell happened to you. My first sensei trained me and showed me that how I used to act was a foolish mistake on my part. I have learned and grown so much stronger because of her, and real question is why should I have ever acted that way? Still sporting a smirk, he asked her. This village had done its best to try to put me down and to make my life a nightmare, to the point I hated myself. Since I shouldn't and I am who I have always been, please explain why I should allow these jerks to win. Before letting the dress drop back down and playing with Kurenai's breasts in front of Anko, he had told her, I am someone who did everything to survive when the world is against me. I have changed because I now take what I want and no one can stop me. I only care about my pets and few people I think of as family. Everyone else can go to hell. He stared back at her while he kept playing with Kurenai's large breasts. So tell me, do you want make a deal or no, because otherwise there is the front door. Use it and leave if you don't want that curse seal off your neck. He simply told her, then stopped his playing with Kurenai's body, yet she pouted. She was enjoying it all even if she did her best not to moan in front of her best friend. Anko was struggling with herself because she wanted this to be removed, and this might be the only way to do it. If she missed this opportunity, she might never be able to get this cursed mark off her neck again. She turned to Kurenai, who appeared to be grinning broadly. What do I need to give you for you to remove it? She asked him, and he simply moved Kurenai off his lap. She didn't like this because she wanted to stay on his lap longer so he could give her a long, nice reward. Naruto stood up and walked behind Anko, who merely turned to face him before she nearly screamed when he took off her long jacket, threw it to the ground, and reached for her breasts, grabbing them firmly. His actions caused Anko to groan and her cheeks to flush deeply red. Simply, you belong to me and you will be my new pet for me to do anything and everything I want to. Just think of it as this. You get village to leave you alone and you have a much better master for you. He kissed her neck then ear before he let his breath hit against it. Will you accept the offer and turn into Anko-chan, my little bitch? Naruto asked again as he simply planted a kiss on her neck. If you can remove this curse mark from my neck, then I'll be anything you damn want, she replied to him. Good, I'll remove it tonight after you both move into your new home, but till Kurenai-chan gets done with packing your place up we are going to play. He ordered Kurenai to take some of the sealing scrolls to Anko's house while they stayed here till she was done. Before she left her house, leaving them alone, she told her master, go easy on her master, and she does love it when she's in doggy or being spanked hard on that sweet ass of hers. Naruto promptly threw away her clothes and demonstrated to her how much she belonged to him. He had taken her in so many ways and sparked that rear end of her so hard that it was the reddest it had ever been in her life, so she didn't stop no matter what. Her groans were the only sound coming from that apartment, so everyone just yelled at her to shut up. She learned just why Kurenai had willing become his pet, because she never had her body feel this good before. She never had anything with his size inside her before either, and she just kept wanting more from him till her body just couldn't take it anymore. The last place that he had his way with her was on the kitchen table where she had her first backdoor fun. In the end he had removed the curse mark right after he had his way with her body and gave her the 2 marks which he told her, one on her neck she could hide. She could hide it just by thinking of it gone, and it wouldn't show to the world and stay hidden. She still couldn't believe that she was his new pet and that she was owned by someone in every single meaning of the word. The entire process of removing the curse seal was much more difficult than he had anticipated, since he had to destroy the snake bastard's soul. He had left a portion of his own soul inside it, but Kurama had to help him destroy it before he could remove it completely, so it wasn't something he enjoyed doing because it was, at best, excruciating. Kurama said, "You are welcome by the way, and I still want to kill you for what you had done." She was still upset that he had 2 of her daughters as pets, and she didn't like having to witness it every time he had slept with her daughter. If she was free and could participate, she wouldn't really mind. He just smirked back at the fox before he moved to sit down because Anko wasn't going to be moving anytime soon, so he didn't have to worry. He just started to let himself relax while he waited for his genjutsu pet to get back already. "Anko-chan, how was the sex?" Kurenai asked her when she got back and could see her friend on the kitchen table naked. She was laying there with his seed still pouring out of her womanhood. Kurenai moved a finger to her friend's moist hole to take some of the seed to taste it with her mouth. "You do taste very good with your juices mixed with his," Kurenai told her, yet she could feel Naruto behind her with his hands on her hips. "Why don't you clean her lovely little pussy out with that mouth?" Before he began to bend her forward, he told her, and she could feel his member pressing up against her behind as he simply lifted the dress. "I'm glad I'm wearing this short dress and no panties now because I'm going to get my nice reward from him," she said, pressing her mouth against her friend's lower region and licking and sucking around the moist folds. "Additionally, Anko-chan, your pussy always tastes so good, but his seed makes it even better." He had kept her mouth against the other woman's moist hole throughout her reward, preventing her from taking a break at all. He saw that both women were too exhausted to continue, so he simply took a shower and put fresh clothes on his body. He watched as they slowly stood back up and exchanged glances. As soon as someone else entered the room through the window, Naruto saw a young girl who appeared to be about 12 years old but was actually much older than everyone else in the room. She had very long gray-brown hair that went down to her knees, which she was wearing a black small cute dress on. Around her neck was a black cloth choker and she had 2 black ribbons in her hair. She also had knee-high socks on, yet no shoes or anything on her feet, which her light red eye almost orange to there were staring at him. "Burial-chan, did you come here to see me?" With a tone of concern, Naruto inquired. Both women were taken aback by his gentle, non-harsh voice as he spoke to her. They watched him approach her, give her a hug, and then move his hand to the wing on her right side. She had only one black wing, which was on her right side, but she lacked a wing on her left, so they stared at her. "Burial was lonely, so Burial went to find you. No leaving Burial all alone like that because Burial missed you very much," she told him while she gave him a big hug with her small body. She had flat chest, which was normal for her small young-looking body. "This is Burial, who is similar to my younger sister. These are my 2 new pets, and they will live with us," he said to Burial, his smile demonstrating to both women that he still harbored some goodness. "It's time for everyone to go home, Burial-chan." She simply nodded when he said, "You just make sure you keep being a good girl for everyone at the inn." Naruto looked back over at his 2 pets, which he could tell they were smiling, which he had no idea why. It wasn't like something great had happened, only that he had hugged his little sister in front of the 2 of them. He gave them both a nod when he said, "You 2 go take a shower and clean up before you then explain to me what is going on tomorrow." Naruto did know that he wanted to know what was going on. He couldn't let anything ruin his plans. He had a goal and he had to make sure he got it done no matter what the cost, and he didn't care what he had to do in order to get it done. They walked to the shower, which they cleaned themselves up and more. They had planned on doing more than just clean each other because they had missed being alone in the shower together. It had been years since the last time they had alone time together in her shower. Anko smiled and said, "It's been a long time, Kur-chan." Kurenai's boyfriend, or rather, her ex-boyfriend, because he was Naruto's PETA, was the primary cause. The 2 of them leaned in for a kiss while the shower water was hitting against their bodies. Their hands moved down and up each other's body. They started to rub each other's breasts while their mouths did their own little tongue war together. "Our master fucked us really well, didn't he? It's been too long. I think I may want even more of that cock soon," Kurenai admitted to her friend. "Yes, first let me clean what left of him inside of you." Anko went down on her knees to lick and suck on her moist hole. She moved her tongue deep, licking and cleaning it out of their master's seed. She loved the taste of her master and wanted it even more. The sound of Kurenai moaning was just a bonus in her mind. She looked up to see Kurenai groan as her tongue slithered around inside, striking all of her weak spots. She started to grind down against Anko's mouth, wanting even more. She didn't know why she acted this way. Ever since meeting Naruto inside the lake, she can't stop getting turned. She kept desiring to be fucked hard. Anko had never seen her friend so lustful before, and she loved it. She wanted to see how much more lustful she could become, so she moved 2 fingers inside her hole and added 2 fingers inside her own pussy. She began thrusting hard and quickly inside both of them. "Kur-chan, I promise you are a lustful little bitch. Do you realize that?" Anko teased her. "I bet you can't wait to have his cock in your pussy and ass again and again. Just keep sucking on me and keep fucking me with your fingers, Anko-chan. Don't stop till I come all over your face." Kurenai yelled at her. She didn't know why she had to be horny all the time, but she desperately needed it and blamed her master for her body's overwhelming desires. She kept on grinding into Anko's mouth till she moaned loud and found herself covering her friend's face with her juices. She looked down to watch Anko just lick her lips. She gave her a look like they weren't done yet. The two of them spent the rest of the time going at each other like 2 horny dogs in heat. They couldn't seem to end their lust that they were dealing with. Part of them had blamed Naruto for all of it. "I said shower, not fuck each other. I swear the 2 of them are too damn horny for their own good." Naruto rolled his eyes because he could hear it all and he didn't want to wait forever for them to get done. There were times when he genuinely believed that his spells affected people, but he would point that out too quickly because the lust spell was too powerful and he could see that Kurenai was still in control of her lustful nature. He just wanted this to be over with and not be left waiting for the 2 of them. He just talked to Burial while the 2 of them waited, which he just wished they could control their desires better. That was one thing he was going to help them learn how to control, and very soon. When he noticed Kurenai walking back in, she had her clothes on, which were a black tank top and black pants. Anko on the other hand was wearing what looked to be a pair of black shorts and black tight corset. He simply rolled his eyes as the tight pushed her breasts up even more. He did like watching them that way, but he detested having to wait. He was their master, not the other way around. He simply rolled his eyes again as he began to wave them over to him, knowing that after all that fun in the shower, he was ready to just jump on them and that he needed to hold back if he wanted to accomplish anything today. "Are you 2 done fucking each other? We got things to talk about before you go to your new home, which you 2 will be sharing a room together," he told them, unhappy. "Sorry master, it just been long time since we done this," she told him with a smile on her face. "What was that meeting about?" he asked, and since she wasn't bringing such things with her, she simply sat down at the kitchen chair. He had informed her that there were already tables and chairs in the place where she would be living. "It tells the story of Kirigakure and Otogakure, a new village. We are going to the land of waves, where they are cooperating and establishing a base. We don't know what is going to happen yet. We are being sent as a scouting with the genin teams. If it is true, there is a base of enemies there. We will bring in the stronger force that's waiting," she told her master, which he just shook his head. "A war now will only ruin my plans for things, which isn't something I'll allow to happen." He spoke, yet everyone could see he wasn't happy. To think a new village thinks that they can be a threat. I wonder if their leader is some crazy fool or something, because there is no way in hell this village can even be a threat. Kiri on the other hand can be a pain in the ass. I thought they were in the middle of a civil war with their own people. Naruto told them. His eyes showed that he was trying to think of a plan. Before anyone could speak anymore, they started to hear someone knocking on Kurenai's door. He just gave her a look to go open it. She had nodded her head before she went to open it. When she had fully opened it, she could see there was a Neko masked Anbu waiting for her. Kurenai simply walked past her friend before she could say, "The Hokage-sama wants to see Naruto right away," and no waiting at all. "Now, Naruto, which you are hereby found breaking many laws. I have a responsibility to bring you, so don't try anything because you can't defeat me," she cautioned him. "Please remember that Burial-chan is taking these 2 to their room, which is room 25. This won't take long at all, so I'll see you 3 later," he told her before heading over to the Anbu. He simply grinned because he had all the cards in his hands and was not going to display any fear when interacting with the elderly man. There was nothing the Hokage could do to him or threaten him with that would frighten him at all. "So hostile to me, little Anbu, and don't worry, I'll be just fine. You'll see the old man won't do a damn thing about me," he told her, which she just made her even more angry with him. She grabbed him by the arm and took him to see the Hokage. She wasn't happy that her friends were mixed up in this. She just glared at him because it was all his fault and she wasn't going to let him get away with it. When Naruto was in front of the old Hokage, he just gave him a smirk. "So what do I own the great pleasure of being called to you, old man?" he asked without a single care in the whole wide world. "Naruto, you have done many things in last years. You have done things even my foolish student never would have done. You gone too far even so, we need your help," he told Naruto, which shocked the Neko Anbu. "I would sooner put you in a cell, yet right now I can't risk it. This village needs your help and it's your only way to get out of this mess alive," he warned the boy. "Hokage-sama, you can't be serious, he should be killed for the things he had done. He has studied black magic and forbidden things." He simply shook his head when she told her leader, "For all we know, he made deals with monsters or demons with that magic. Right now we are at war and we don't have the manpower to win this if it truly happens. We need his help and the help of the ones he controls. That is only reason I would allow you to live after making few people from this village your pets as you call them," Hokage said, showing how he was unhappy with how Naruto had become. "If you need my help then you follow my terms because I do things my way." Without blinking, he told the elderly man, "I want this war to end as soon as it can because I have something to do. I'll bring few of my friends along with me tomorrow and we'll take care of the base if there even is one. You can have the members of your village come along like planned so no one thinks otherwise," he told him, which Yugo was already wanted to kill him badly. "Very well, and Naruto, why have you become like this? What could make you become so dark-hearted like this?" he asked the young boy in front of him. "Just say this is the only way for me to save someone I care about." He headed for the door with his eyes closed. "I don't care if I have damned my very soul to the 9 hells because I will save her soul no matter what," he told him before he walked out. "So, in order to save someone else's soul, you have fallen so far from grace? Can't you see whoever this person is, they would hate herself forever because of what it cost to save her? You damn fool," Hokage said, yet Naruto could hear it all with his great hearing. "Damned my soul is worth it because she was everything to me," Naruto thought before he headed home. He didn't care what the cost was or what he had to pay at the end because he had to save her no matter what. He didn't care how many deals he had to make or how many demons he had to work with. Upon arriving home, he entered the enormous inn, which could accommodate perhaps 100 people, and proceeded to Anko and Kurenai's room to see how they were doing. When he got to the door he opened it, he walked inside to see that Anko was sitting at the desk while Kurenai was sleeping. He just smirked before he sat down on the bed next to Kurenai's sleeping form. He noticed that she was wearing a short nightgown that barely covered her chest and stopped in the middle of her ass cheeks. He began massaging her leg as he turned to face Anko, who was dressed in a matching red nightgown. "It appears that Kurenai-chan is exhausted. How are you, my tiny snake companion?" he asked over to her. "Worn out, just can't sleep, and it's all your fault, master. You worn us both out with your playing with our bodies." Anko smiled at him. She got up from her sit and walked over to him. She moved her lips down on his. She felt his hands against her bare rear. Unlike Kurenai, she had no panties on. She started to feel his mouth against her stomach, then back up to her neck. "Tomorrow going to be a big day, and if you do good then maybe I'll reward you," he told her before he moved her to the bed. He got to his feet. He looked back once more before he headed out of the room. He began to make his way to his room, where he was the only man by himself. He claimed ownership of the space and forbade any other men from entering. It was exclusively for his women. The inn was hidden away where no one could really see unless they had known where to look, and it had 2 shrines around it. These shrines were made for many reasons and they had their own Miko working here. He found meeting these Miko to be a very enjoyable and humorous story, and although he was aware that he would have to visit them tomorrow prior to his meeting with the elderly man, he still finds it hard to comprehend the folly of this world and the simple-mindedness of people. When he got to his room he went to his desk and sat down because he had to figure out who would go with him tomorrow. He did know he had a lot of planning to do before morning. He didn't make any mistakes or show too much of his hand to anyone. He did know he had few strong pets in the inn while the other ones were doing things for him. He had given his pets missions to do. These missions were key to his plans to save her. He did know his pets won't fail their missions. They enjoyed being rewarded too much to risk failing a mission he gave them. He heard someone moving behind him, so he turned to see a woman slowly entering his room. She was wearing a very seductive red nightgown, had 2 golden eyes with slits in them, and had very long black hair that reached her ass. She also had 2 fox ears and 9 tails. The nightgown barely covered her breasts and didn't even cover her ass. She had long a red matching thong that was only thing that covered down there. The nightgown ended right above her ass cheeks. "Arihime, so you've already returned? Even for someone like you, I'm shocked that quickly, he said. She was Kyuubi's daughter and one of the two he made into his pet. She was one very hard woman to tame in many ways because she was someone he had to watch out for. She could charm any lesser men without even trying with her powers and looks. He was one that she couldn't get under her charm no matter how hard she had tired. Yes, I missed you very well, Naruto-kun, she said to her before she walked over to him. She was one of the few people who managed to get away with calling him that. He watched her approach him slowly and try to tease him with her body, focusing first on her breasts and then on her long, sexy legs, but when she reached him, he simply placed her on top of his lap and claimed her mouth. We have a lot of things to work on before I give you your reward, he said, adding, I could tell that you missed me just by the way you were dressed. That's if you didn't fail the task that I had given you, he added. Don't worry, she agreed to join us after my long talk with her. She's exhausted, and I believe she fainted a little while ago, so you can meet her tomorrow morning. Maybe I should have gone easier on her, she admitted back to him. We have to go on a mission tomorrow, and I'm trying to decide who I should bring. My plans won't work out because it looks like two villages want to fight Konoha. I need to end this little uproar fast and clean. He told her, his eyes looked at her breasts. A war would ruin a lot of your hard work and I won't let that happen, so I'm coming with you no matter what. She told him, she wasn't going to let him tell her no. Naruto repeatedly spanked her behind, saying, You forget, you're the pet here, not me. I'm sorry master, please forgive me. She teased him, that had earned another spank to hear rear this time hard. When he saw her face turn pale, he grinned and said, You really don't listen, and if you don't behave, no sex for you. What do I need to do to help you? We only have until the morning of tomorrow, correct? Ari asked him anxiously. I do know we need to come up with a plan. First, we need a few handcuffs, some rope, and a blindfold. Maybe even some chains and a whip, that should do it. He grinned over at Ari. Once he was done with his planning, he looked over at Ari, who was laying on the bed naked for him. He did know that he genuinely cared for his pets. He was not like the other masters out there that used them for their own gains. With a smirk he got up and walked over to the bed before he placed the blindfold around her eyes before kissing her lips. He slowly kissed down her chest, taking her right nipple into his mouth, tasting it before biting down hard on it. He could hear her moan being filled with pleasure and pain. He did know how she enjoyed it and the things that turned her down. He moved his hand to play with her clit while his mouth kept his attack on her nipples. He wanted this fox to moan his name out, which he could tell she was doing her best not to give in to him just yet. That only made him move a finger inside of her while his other hand grabbed onto her ass cheek hard. Don't you realize that you are mine? He asked before he bite down on her neck, the one thing that was her main weak spot. He continued working her body, not stopping with his mouth or fingers until he saw how wet she was before retreating from the bed, even though he had assumed it was just a fox mating thing that made them go crazy if you bite them there. No. Why did you stop? Get back here, master, she questioned him. That's not how you talk to your master. Now turn around, for that ass is in the air. Need to punish this bad naughty pet, he said with a smirk. She did as he asked, turning into a doggy pose and raising her ass as high as she could. She felt numerous hard slaps to her cheeks, repeatedly hitting her body with both pleasure and pain. Kurama-chan enjoying the show? I believe she's going to suck on me next. I truly hate you, do you know that? She growled back. I can't believe how you could turn my youngest daughter into that. Please, the only reason that's making you mad is the fact you can't join in. Your whole family is just horny foxes that want to get fucked hard. After giving her a final spank that made her ass even redder, he turned her around and put on his clothes. After he was nude, he slapped his hard member against her face several times until she began to suck on it. Get your horny pussy nice and wet, good girl. I swear I think going end up breeding you, so I have more foxes to play with. Like Anne's relationship with her daughter? She sucked on him as she asked. Yes, your eldest sister is preparing her daughter to be mine when she's old enough. Yasakaheim and her lovely daughter Kuno-chan. He wanted to feel inside her all the way from the beginning, and he knew she could handle it because she was used to being played with. When he had had enough of her mouth, which he had found to be very skillful, he turned her around again before slamming himself inside her. After his night of fun with his foxy pet, Naruto was standing outside going over his groups for this so-called war. He looked over at Ari, who was sitting down beside him. He just rubbed her head before slowly noticing everyone waking up and heading outside ready for war. His eyes scanned over each one of them. He had concealed his true strength from everyone around him, but he knew that he would never lose to anyone in this world. All of his pets were stronger than average people, and even in terms of shinobi rankings, they were elite in their own right. Few of them could defeat him. The first one was wearing a black face mask that only covered her mouth. She was wearing skin-tight bodysuit that was mix of black and purple. Her eyes were a beautiful shade of red with long purple hair that went down past her very rounded rear. The bodysuit hugged and showed off her curvaceous body to the world. He did love this person's body, and he did know she belonged to him like every single one of them did. There were 2 crimson-colored spears on her back, which he knew were the strongest spears in the world. She was just as deadly and powerful as these spears, which is why he claimed her in the first place. Her appearance didn't matter as much as how well she obeyed him and never questioned his commands. She was loyal to the end, which he was grateful for and always rewarded very well. He was aware that this woman was not only a goddess in appearance but also a very deadly warrior who should not be taken lightly, even if you were her master. Her extraordinarily large breasts and the rear he loved to play with were the parts he truly enjoyed looking at. Ready for some fun, Scathach-chan, because we are going to be entering a battlefield that you are used to being in. Naruto joked with her. You know I'm always ready, and you better give everything later for this. I do mean everything, dear master. She returned the flirtation. You should know I always give you the best kinds of things. Don't forget that, my little pet, Naruto said, grinning before he took her lips in his and then moved his hand down her back until he reached his desired spot, giving her a hard slap on the back. Next woman he looked at had long black hair tied in ponytail with 2 brown eyes. He did know he almost got killed by this woman. She was wearing tight tank top and ridiculously small pair of shorts. She had more hidden weapons than anyone of which he could think. She had smaller chest size than the first woman, but she still had decent size to her. Good thing I have someone in the shadows, don't I, Kali-chan? Just make sure you don't try to kill little old me, okay? Another joke came out of him. Keep me happy, okay, master? I can't promise anything. It all depends on how you make me feel when the time comes. She simply responded to him with a deadly joke. He joked once more, but the fox struck him in the head. I swear you two are going to be the death of me, do you know that? Here I thought Harem was the needy one. He turned to face the new voice and asked, how many are you bring with you? Like the first woman, she had long purple hair that reached her back, and he gazed into her blue eyes. He soon turned his attention from her enormous breasts to her elongated legs, which were accentuated by the skirt she was wearing. He looked back at her tight white shirt before his eyes looked at the katana he had given her. Because of its hidden powers, the katana he had given her was unlike any other. Kurama assisted him in finding it, and he used it as one of the cards to subdue the stunning young lady in front of him. About half, the rest will guard the inn in case this village tries anything foolish. That is because I refuse to let anyone hurt the ones I care about, just like I care about you, my dear Seiko-chan, Naruto said to her. She retorted, were you not bringing that many to tip your hand to them? From what I gathered last night, a weak money-loving bastard is controlling Land of Waves. I need group to kill him before taking everything he owns to better ourselves. I also need group to gather few new allies. I have info on that may join us or may need bit of talking to join us. Therefore, only 1/3 of the arriving groups will fight alongside these village idiots. You care for some of these people in this village, yet the rest had left you to die. Then again, we never met if they did care. Naruto's eyes moved to look at the newest voice. This woman had long deep brown hair that almost looked black that was down to her perfect rear, which was hugged tight by her tight miniskirt. She was wearing white sleeveless shirt that exposed her lovely midriff, also showed just how toned her body was. Her gorgeous red eyes were staring at her as she put her black leather gloves on her hands. She knew he was staring at her toned body, so she moved to show it off to him. To his delight, she watched as his gaze began at her enormous breasts, the largest in the group, and continued all the way down to her toned legs, which stretched for miles. He had met her at a bar that she owned, and now she runs the bar inside the inn. If anyone on his team was an expert hand-to-hand fighter, it would be this woman. You could tell by the shape of her body. He loved watching her train every day and push herself harder to get stronger. Yes, I would never have met any of you or my sensei if they had helped me. I wouldn't violate these purported laws, even though they won't acknowledge that they violated their own laws before I did. Talking about me having Kyuubi inside of me or calling me a demon was also against their laws, Naruto said, pausing briefly to catch his breath. Even though he wondered if he was forcing himself to joke at this point, he continued, saying, besides, make sure someone is still running the bar while you're gone, Tifa-chan. The very last thing I need is to come back to angry women that had no drinks. Harem, be a dear and get everyone else ready and geared up. I am going head out with them to meet the old man before dealing with this bullshit again. He spoke before heading out with them. He never noticed the worry look across Aries' beautiful face. What's causing you anxiety? Ari looked to see a woman that had long black hair that matched her leather straps that covered her breasts and thong-like strap that was kept up by 3 thin strapped around her hips. Her outfit left nothing to really image. Her breasts were huge along with her rear being large, perfectly rounded. Her purple eyes were staring right at Ari with a lick of her lips before moving finger to her lips. Beside the straps she also had 2 black leather gloves that went all the way to her elbow along with 2 large black feather wings coming out from her back. She was what you would call a fallen angel. I don't want Naruto Koi to follow this course. All he wants is to save her, but he ignores everyone who is important to him. The enemies he is going to face are nothing when you think of his real enemies like that damn Nightmare and Soul Edge. She acknowledged, regretfully glancing at the other woman. He is not even the strongest one. He will have to fight to save her soul. You also overlook the fact that we are there to protect him. He is only a human even if he is stronger than any human I have ever met in my life. I also worry at the end of all this, he may not even be human anymore. He will probably regret the expense, but on the plus side, he will live longer than the average person, which is beneficial to us. Even though she wasn't the type to show such concern for others, she made a joke at the end to cover up her own anxieties. Once inside the Hokage's room, Naruto stood there not even batting an eye while everyone stared at him. His look stayed on the aging Hokage. He did know eventually this man would no longer be leader of this village, sooner than later to be honest. So, these are ones you are bringing with you? He merely asked the younger man a question. No, there is going to be far more along the way. You could say that these are simply my bodyguards because I don't get along well with this village at the moment. Like I said I would end this war, but for laws being broken, why don't we start with ones you broken? He countered. Sasuke quickly regretted his intervention, saying, have you lost your mind, idiot, and have you forgotten he is the Hokage-sama? He is the law of this village and what could even have to get the right to question him like that? The look of pure coldness caused chills to go down his spine before his lungs seemed to just stop working from the ki coming off him. His ki did not even stop even with Neko jumping forward towards him. Akali had stopped her with her blade, just inches away from the woman's neck. Her emotionless gaze swept over the Neko masked Anbu. I'll give you one warning. Bitch, back off and don't ever try to put your hands on my master. Her voice was as cold as Naruto's glare. You were the one that oversees this village and keeps everyone in this village safe. Where were you when I needed saving? Where were you when they would treat me like dirt, calling me demon and wanting to be dead? Where were you when they almost killed me every time it was my birthday, yet they fox hunt? He asked, his eyes filled with rage. During one of these fox hunts I met my first sensei and that how my life changed. If anyone is to blame for breaking laws it is you. You that faulted to uphold the ideas of the 4th Hokage, to have me looked at as a hero not the monster. He spat out. You claim I broke your laws, yet I had no choice because it was only way to survive in this world where everyone wants you die. That is because you put burden on me, because you were too weak to kill the Kyuubi, too weak to even beat it. So, you had to go as low as seal it inside a newborn baby, unable to save your village without doing it. Then treat that baby as the demon and caused his life to be nothing but hell. Naruto just raised his fist. I turned into someone you fear, so you hate me in the end. I am not the Kyuubi, but I am going master the black arts, the dark magic you fear so much. I will master it and I will master the ways of alchemy. You will not be any to touch me, so do not even try. Yes, this village did fail you when it come to the attacks on your life and causing you to live through all of it. The elderly gentleman paused. It doesn't change the fact 2 wrongs don't make anyone right. You still going down path that will damn your soul. Before instructing Akali to release Neko, Naruto said, I already know that. As for you, you better stay out of my way, and that goes for the rest of this village. I can be your ally or I can be the worst enemy this village has. Naruto, I hope one day you turn back from this path, but even so, this war comes before anything else. I am going to be sending the new Genin teams along with group of Anbu and seasoned shinobi. I cannot send all my best if this turns out be a fake attack, then this village would be defenseless against large armies. Kurenai Yuhi, Kakashi Hatake, Asuma Sarutobi, Anko Mitarashi, and Might Guy, your teams will be handling the gathering information. The Anbu groups and trackers, which are Hana Inuzuka and Sum Inuzuka along with her clan, will find out how many there are. The Hokage said to them. Kiba inquired, what about the Baka and his so-called people? Next time someone has the stupidity to insult our master, I'm going to kill you. Scathach had enough of these insults to her master. Naruto will be acting as his own leader and leading his people to help win this war, so try not to get yourself killed. These people are not under my control, so please keep your mouths shut when it comes to insulting their leader. He avoided using the term, master, in his remarks. Before leaving, he said, you guys better get ready, but remember one thing, don't get in our way. He would be going to wave alone. Wait, much as it pains me to see you like this Naruto. Is there anything this village can do to earn your good standing? During this war the other villages would have good chance to take it as chance to attack us. I do know that your allies are strong, even stronger than this village, but is anything you like to trade for your future help? Hokage responded, knowing that this was simply the start of their conflict. Let us see how your village does at listening during this battle. I do not collaborate with people that do not listen. If it works out, maybe, but that be land and money is only two things I can think of on the time of my head. Could always use few new pets. He joked at the conclusion prior to departing with the animals he owned. Have we grown too weak, Hokage-sama, that we need to make deals with that vile monster? Neko had inquired about it. Beside that, is it true about the Kyuubi part? Ino inquired. What you heard is the truth. He was one forced to live with it sealed inside of him. He was also hated and attacked by members of the village along with even shinobi ranks at times. I know I was one of his watchers in the past. Kakashi repeated to them before adding, I wasn't there all the time, other watchers let them hurt him. This village did have hand in his chances, we did fail him, Hokage-sama. Hell, I even tried taking him in, but the village banned me from taking care of him. All we can do now is brace for the coming storm. Soon said prior to departing to prepare. Outside the village, Naruto's small group was heading to the land of waves, unknown to his team because he was rushing to get there. He had few things he had to do along the way there, and he noticed he was right on time. He approached a person fully clothed in a black hood and rode slowly before leaving the area after a brief conversation. Naruto simply turned to face his girls after realizing he was getting close to his destination. Akali was the first to inquire, where are we going to, master? Naruto grinned and continued, saying, a place that has a very special gem, that no one realizes how rare it truly is. When he eventually came to a stop, the town appeared to be populated by humans as well as monsters or semi-monsters in cages, and those same monsters being pulled by ropes. This was just one of many towns that were slave towns in the world and was controlled by someone far more powerful than any of the shinobi villages out there. So, this gem is someone you going to buy? They asked, turning to see Eri's voice behind them. In response, Naruto said, yes, the main event going to start soon. He headed inside the main building, where monsters got sold off at the highest bidder won through fighting each other, betting on the winner. Ari was wearing a gray cloak to conceal her true identity because this was the last place she wanted to be. After few hours of sitting and going through the bid wars, Naruto sensed more problems which he looked behind him. He noticed Hana along with her brother and mother, which he could see Kiba was making a fist. Kiba, it would be best for everyone for you to calm down. The one that runs the slave world is stronger than your leader, also stronger than me. If you do anything foolish it could get me, and you killed, then your family turned into sex slaves. He replied to him. He is right, son, yet you need to calm down. But why are you here, Naruto? We were ordered to track you in case you got too far ahead of the groups. Sume responded. Many of my pets, I got from slave towns, but as you can see, they have no hate or desire to leave me. I treat my pets right. Hana looked at him bewildered but a little aroused. You keep saying pets, are you talking about the ones with you right now? She asked. Naruto looked at the gem he had mentioned to Ari earlier and moved to put an end to their conversation. He simply grinned at the woman's long jet black hair, 2 golden slit eyes, and 2 black feather wings emerging from her waist. Her breasts were enormous to say the least, and she had 2 white horns perched atop her head. He thought she was a princess or bride-to-be because of her long white dress. Unlike many buyers who were only interested in her body, he was aware of her true strength. How much is she going to cost you? Cannot be cheap, master. Then again, how important is she to your plans? Replied Ari. Cost will be a small fortune, but I'll make it back during this mission. Naruto laughed. I wonder just how you will pull that one off, master. Scathach asked. She did wonder at times what her master was really planning. Even though she liked to fight, she believed that some battles were reserved for the individual. She was aware that her master was engaged in one of these conflicts. Although she was unable to see it with her eyes, she could sense it in her spirit. She just hoped he will not just survive this battle, but she hoped he would refuse to let it change him any more than it has already done. I have my ways, which you will see soon enough as long as this war doesn't slow my plans down any more than it has. He responded. He had planned to make Land of Waves his own land, and he had great plans that would benefit both him and the people there. He needed land. He would aid these people in exchange for their assistance, and these lands were ideal for his schemes. This woman's name is Albedo, and she is just one of few games in today's lineup. More will be showed soon. I hope you all enjoy your time here tonight. A man in a robe said. So, to these people, this is all just a show. Kiba questioned. These are people's lives and their freedom is being taken away from them. Naruto glared at him to stop talking before he could cause a scene. This is how the world works, you just simply choose to not look at the world as for what it truly is. Naruto gave the young shinobi some truths about the world. The world is dark, and there are things out there that are viler than you will ever fully understand, unless you open your mind to see the truth around you. Naruto learned at young age just how twisted the world was. His sensei had showed him much during her time with him. The dark arts were not only things she showed him, bending people to his will was just one of many things, but biggest thing she showed him was knowledge. Knowledge of the world around him, the secrets that must never learn about in their entire life of being alive. She was also the one who taught him how to break people's minds and turn them into his pets. He saw her do it in front of him, observed everything, and gained a lot of knowledge from doing and observing with his sensei. If it's okay with you, may I ask what that makes you? Ari simply snarled at the woman when Hana asked. I've followed a path, but it might ultimately damn my soul, but... He told the older woman, at least I do what I do for a reason. If necessary, I will fight evil with evil, there is no turning back for me. Even if you walk in the shadows, you will always have my blades, dear master. Akali made the point. You will always be mine. Ari stated before she sat down on his lap. She was his no matter what and she was his. Why, if it isn't my friend Naruto-kun, how are you doing today? Naruto glanced over his shoulder, recognizing the person whose voice it was. Naruto responded, Sears Extra Mori, or is it Lucifer now? The red-hair man looked down at his old friend with his blue eyes. He was someone that was extraordinarily strong. Naruto did know best not to get on his bad side. Even if he also had known eventually the two of them would have to fight each other, Naruto just had hoped by then he found some way to gain more strength to just survive that fight. He did not hate Sears by all means, he was someone he thought as a friend, but friends do not last in the dark world. In the end, it all comes down to gaining power for yourself even if it means killing your friends. It's Lucifer now and you sure you don't want to take my offer still, you would make a good devil you know. He was joking. I am good, sometime in the future, and what brings a powerful person like you here? I mean last, I checked there are more better places to be for someone of your league. He responded. My sister here needs few more pets for her group. So, I figured I would spend the day with her, helping her find new ones. They aren't pets. Teenage redhead yelled at him. Even though he would not tell her, he thought she was attractive. She had blue eyes and long crimson hair. He also noticed her huge breasts, which he liked more than her eyes, yet he could notice that her school outfit was a bit too small for her. He did have to admit that her skirt showed off a bit too much and so did her shirt. Then again, she was a devil. Devils did enjoy things that gave them pleasure, they could even be insanely lustful and needy for sex. Where are my manners? This is my lovely sister Rias-chan and this is my old friend Naruto-kun, do get along okay? He continues to be joking. Sure, it's always nice meeting your friends. She smirked over at Naruto, yet it did not seem to work on him due to him not falling for her act. Naruto did know that devils, no matter if they act innocent or nice, deep down they are pulled to power. Even if it means using their bodies or just caving into their own lust for pleasure, they want to gain power. Naruto grinned as he received his gold mine for his new pets and said, sure, how about you help me with a favor due to me saving your hide a few years ago? Wait, you saved my brother's hide? She asked. Sears started quickly laughing before he moved his sister to sit down. He asked the younger man in a hurry, what do you want? I swear that was one-time thing you know. Naruto smirked because he had saved Sears' marriage but hiding the fact he cheated on his wife, he did not know why he did it. Naruto on the other hand would have loved to steal Graphia from him but he figured that would not work out well. He reasoned that trying at that moment would cost him more than it would benefit him. He prevented the marriage from ending because she loved her husband too much, even though he had cheated on her without her knowledge. Then again, on the other hand, he did sleep with her once already, so there was not all love she had for him. He was aware that neither of their hides would see that part of the world anytime soon. Just for you to buy few new pets for me, that is all. Simple favor, and you are rich, so it is nothing that you cannot manage, right? Naruto chuckled. Fine, let me guess, she's one of them. He simply asked. Naruto moved to watch the show in front of them and said, yes, she is the main one that I need. Let's see who ends up being shown today. Few had the eye of the young redhead. He just watched till he felt Ari touch his arm. He looked over at him, noticing she was pointing to one of the new women being forced on the stage. She had long light blue hair with yellow at the end. Her skin was pale but looked almost perfect in his eyes. She was wearing a long dress with mix of colors of blue, dark blue, turquoise, and gold. The outfit itself appeared to be worn by someone with royal ancestry. Her eyes were blue, that reminded him of how his eyes used to look like. The blue sea was staring at them with such naive eyes that had never seen what he had. Her breasts were another thing that caught his eyes. The size alone made him want her. Master, she is an old friend of mine, Akili. She cannot speak, but her song magic is insane useful, also can heal wounds. Ari told her teacher. She's another one, you only got one more after her, then you are paying. His friend stated to him. He just nodded back. Naruto eventually located the final one for his team after a few rounds. That woman appeared to be in her late 20s, with long pink hair that reached her attractive round butt. He was aware that he intended to make fun of her butt. Ari merely smirked and then gave him a sidelong elbow for staring too intently. Her eyes were a sharp but also dark yellow color which matched perfectly with her chocolate smooth brown skin. He did wonder just why she was being sold off at the end of the show. Someone of her looks should have been more to the start. She was wearing what looked to be a black suit top that was left open from her neck down past her massive-sized breasts. Naruto would fit in well because he had to acknowledge that the largest similarity among all of his pets was the size of their breasts. His eyes were back to the top she was wearing, and it was showing off a great deal of her lovely cleavage. The only thing it did cover was the top of her nipples and stomach. As much as he enjoyed her outfit, he would have to get her new one for fighting. She also had on a black matching suit skirt that went a tiny bit past her rear, not much past it, which caused World to see her rear for how great it was. He thought of just taking the skirt down before having his way with her, then he could go to Land of Waves. He didn't understand why she was wearing a pair of black high heels as the last item of her attire in a slave show. He wondered just who this person really was. Something about her seemed off. I take it, that's your last one that I'm paying for. He was joking. Yes, she will do till next time you owe me a favor. He joked back. Naruto was curious about his three new pets' personalities and wanted to reassure them that they could trust him. Ari simply took hold of his hand on the way there. He loved her despite the fact that he knew she could be too sensitive at times. As for the devils, he just looked over at his sister because he did know she would try something that he hoped she would not. It took a few years for the last scene she caused to fade from people's memories. Ryus-chan, please don't do anything this time like you did last time when meeting someone I know, okay? I know you have the habit of liking strong people, but he is not one you should try doing anything with. He cautioned her. Back with Naruto, when he got inside the room, he did notice that he had a lot of work ahead of him to get these three to listen to him. That was something that made it even more fun, the challenge in getting them to obey him. I know, your name is Albedo, but who are you two? He asked them. My name is Sona, it's nice to meet you, master. He heard a voice in his head. He just shook his head at that. Sona. Ari took her hood off before hugging her long friend. While the other two women simply stared at their new owner, whom neither of them seemed to want, the two of them grinned at one another. He did understand their feelings, yet he needed them for his plans. He looked at Akali joining the Ari. Naruto could feel their glares. He just turned to face the pink-hair woman. He did know he would need to get them to get past their dislike of him. He had his ways of just doing that. These two weren't the first pets he had that openly despised him. If he could win over that insane one, he would gain the trust of these two. If you have to know, my name is Ingrid. Her glare did not leave him. It is good to meet you. We will be heading to place called Land of Waves. I need kill a greedy monster that is bleeding these lands dry. They're also matter of ending a war before it even starts, something I cannot allow to happen. He continued. Why would a monster be interested in people or their conflicts? She countered. I got my reasons, but do tell me how you ended up here. She shamefully confessed, I failed my master Black, so he got rid of me. Then, it is good thing I do not throw people away due to failing me. Life always has its times where you cannot win. Now let us be going, you three, we are behind, and we need to make up for it. Naruto headed out with the women following him. Naruto did know that he wondered how strong these three really were. He looked at the Konoha members with him, knowing that they would eventually be in combat. He did know both mother and daughter were good on the eyes, yet he could not shake the feeling there was something off about them. Naruto-kun, can I speak to you for a moment? Rias asked him. He just looked back at her. Sure, do you want to speak here or somewhere else? He asked her. Ari didn't like it when she led him away from his group and said, somewhere else, so follow me. Ari snarled, but Hana simply shook her head. She better not try anything to him, but I won't let anyone hurt my Naruto-kun. You are over worried about him, yet do you think he can't oversee himself if he walked away willing like that? Soon replied to the fox. Does not matter, it is my job to keep him safe. I am the one on which he can lean. I will always be here for him, yet I just wish he would stop trying to undo what cannot be undone. Just go back to the little kind boy. The final phrase she murmured, but both women heard her. Our job, you aren't only one here, Ari-chan. Akali pointed out to her. Naruto got inside a room where there was another woman. She had long black hair that went down past her rear. She was wearing what looked to be a Miko outfit with two purple eyes that were looking back at them. He also did know she had bigger chest than the red head. Something that he could not believe was possible. Her purple eyes were one of the first things that drew his attention. There was something about them that reminded him of something he had seen before. Something about her. He could not put a finger on it, yet he felt like he had known her. This is my Queen Akano. She's also one of my most beloved people in my life. There is something I wanted to ask you. She told him. Her hands moved to play with Akano's long hair. Uncertain of what she had in store for him, he shot back, what did you want to ask me? It's not every day someone's sister wants to ask me something like this. At the end, she grinned and looked at him as if he were her prey. I want your help, as my brother put it, I need your help to make my pets stronger, which I feel like you could do that for me. He was no one's prey, let alone someone who lacked much in the ways he had learned, and she was unaware of how outmatched she was. He would just give her the impression that she was in control for the time being before demonstrating to her how poorly her last move was executed. I could help, but what is in it for me? I do not do anything for free, and I can tell you right now, you are far out of your league. Naruto had walked up to her, just smirked before looking at the other woman. Why is that? I think I can manage anything you can produce. I mean, human versus someone like me. The devil just gave a little giggle. Ever wondered why I did not tell anyone to follow me, even if I did know you are a devil just like your brother? Because I am not scared of you, that's because little girl. If I wanted to, I could make you into a pet. He stopped with his mouth at her ear, breathing slowly against the soft skin. Power is only thing that drives you devils, so why don't you take a taste of my before I leave you standing in your wet panties? He little bite her ear before he let his power come rushing out around them. Only for a moment he lifted his power limits to give her a show. I will not let anyone beat me, till I make that bastard nightmare pay for what has done. Till then keep dreaming if you think I will be your prey. You are his younger sister, but keep it up and I will turn you into a begging pet wanting to be pleasured by me. He warned her before leaving Miko stunned. She also thought she had met him before, but when she heard the monster's name, she recalled that he had been the one who had prevented Nightmare from killing her. She saw Soul Edge stabbed in the chest and died in front of her, but she believed he had been killed that day even though he had saved her. How did you survive that day? Tell me, did you really survive, because you are not the kind young boy I remember? She thought quietly to herself. As for Riza, the small taste had done just what he said it would. He walked out leaving her there standing in both shock and aroused. She was completely soaked by his power, but she still wanted more, so she became upset that he was correct to leave her drenched. She was curious about his true strength. Concerned for her master and best friend, she said, Rias-chan, are you okay? I'm fine, I just can't believe I let him get to me like that. She admitted before taking her aroused out on her best friend. Before she would give her pet a break, she would make sure it made her feel good. Her name would be moaned all day and night. It was only way for her to get over what that man had done to her before she planned to get him back. Naruto could tell Ari was observing him when he returned to his group and went to the Land of Waves to meet up with the other groups. He just figured it was because she had sensed his power being flared up. He just rubbed her head softly. When he caught up to them, they all just looked over at him, then at the new women that were with him. He just shrugged before heading on. He needed to get this war over with before it got too worse to oversee. When they got there, he had realized it was already too late because he could see demons and monsters walking around with humans. These villages Kurigakure and Otogakure had made deals with his enemies. Aren't these nightmares followers? If that's true, then we are going deep into a huge battle. No, this will be a true war. Akali stated. Her eyes showed worry for her master. Naruto turned to face them, his eyes icy. These are his damn minions, all right, so listen up, Konoha members. You are about to fight against demons, monsters that your mothers told you as bedtime stories. So, you better listen. If you do not, you will die today. If you wish to live, you will listen to what I tell you to do. Do you understand me? He asked, yet they all still looked at him like he was crazy. He simply gave him a glare in response to Neko Anbu's question. You are just a genin, why should we listen to you? He pointed to what appeared to be mindless, drooling monsters that were moving around like packs of untamed dogs and said, look for your own eyes, these aren't humans, or are you that blind to your pride? All of the women in the group knew exactly what he meant when he said, these are just the wild dogs that bastard has. If his higher-up demons are here, we will not survive if you do not listen to me. I have dealt with him and his minions before. These bastards won't just kill you if you are a woman. Ari-chan, I am going to need you to take ones on the right out, before helping these idiots. Everyone else will attack the middle groups while you do that, and I move to the ones on the left. Before making his way to the left, Naruto told his team, we just need to hold out, and we should have help here soon. You really think we would listen to you, which the last I checked you were lowest ranking person here beside others your age? Neko made a face. The Hokage had made it so that genin had to be 16 before receiving a headband in order to give them more time to train, but more training did not benefit any of these genin. Naruto was aware that he thought she was foolish to keep bringing up age in such a way. Just do what you're told. I do not have all day to fight with you. Do you mind if I finish before I finish my side? Everyone thought he was crazy for believing he was strong enough to take on so many people by himself, but his team knew how strong he was and simply followed his instructions because he had taught them to obey and pay attention to him. He hardly ever had to repeat himself to any of them. Naruto simply saw them hurrying at him without much thought as he made his way to the first group, reminding him of Kiba's behavior of rushing in without any prior thought. After sidestepping the first demon and grabbing its forehead before chanting, he pushed it into the group before it exploded, killing 2 of the 4 demons with its head in the center. Naruto simply dodged again, biting his thumb before calling his katana to his side. This wasn't your typical katana, it was a cursed sword with a piece of soul edge embedded in it, which had happened during Naruto's second encounter with the nightmare. As a result, the sword changed and became stronger, and it began to acquire powers that he had learned to use sensibly. The blade of the katana was pure red, like it was made of blood. The handle was color black, with crimson lines going around it. The size of the katana was slightly longer than normal ones. He knew that he would not allow anyone to kill him. He had plans, and dying was not one of them. He easily dispatched the final 2 demons, even though he knew they were just mindless dogs following orders. When the mindless dogs began to charge at him once more, he simply used his blade to send a wave of flame at them. Ari for her part was ripping into her groups. She was using her fox fire to burn them while using her charm to lead them into the killing blow. How she danced around these weaklings of demons, yet to a human they were deadly to them. Most humans do not ever see demons. When they do, they are always powerless to stop them. He couldn't afford to let them die, so the main group was working with them to get them into Land of Waves without getting hurt. He didn't care about them, but he knew that bringing their dead bodies back to the village would only lead to more issues, and he didn't have the time. Even though he detested the village, he cared about a small number of its residents, so he couldn't let it burn to the ground or allow it to burn to the ground because they were the only things that kept him there. If they disappeared, so would he. He saw that one of the demons was going to attack Albedo, so he simply leapt in front of her and took the blow because he could not afford to lose her before he had gained her trust. He looked down at the demon with its claws in his arm, and before he could even kill it, Akali's blades in its chest had already killed it. Why did you do that for me? Concerned, Albedo asked him. Because it is my job to keep you safe, even if you do not want to help me. Being your master means that I am and always will be here for you, he explained candidly. Her attire changed at that point, and she was wearing what appeared to be a full-plate suit of armor in 3 different colors of purple, gray, and black that fit her like a glove. If his sensei books were accurate, he knew exactly what this armor was, and it turned out to be legendary armor known as Hermes Trismegistus. He truly found a gem in that performance. With a massive axe in her hands, she proceeded to slay the next few demons, and with her assistance, they managed to get the shinobi group to the ships, where they boarded while continuing to battle the waves of demons. Although he was aware that these weak demons posed no threat, he was still curious about the location of the higher-ranking ones, who should be close by, but he was unsure. Because he had encountered him a few times over the years, he was aware of how Nightmare operated. He was the one who stole her from him, tore her soul from his arms, and killed her to protect him. These memories began to overwhelm his thoughts. He pushed them away because he did know there had to be some high-ranking demons here if there were this many mindless ones. He just had to keep his eyes open to any trap into which they may fall. When they made it to the land of waves, Naruto could see just how poor these people have been forced to live. His eyes scanned around, which he could see how badly these buildings had been made. That alone was starting to get his blood boiling. To be forced to live like this reminded him how his past. They were also in bad shape, which he assumed was because of the lack of funds and that bastards of Erisea too avaricious to even assist these people. No, he was just taking advantage of them until they all perished. Before they could even get off the ships, they could see a monster that was massive in size waiting for them. He could see 2 armored-looking demons beside it, holding chains to keep it in place, which caused him to realize he just walked into a trap. What in hell is that thing? Kiba asked. The monster appeared to have 2 heads, one resembling a goat's head and the other a lizard's. It had roughly 6 to 8 legs, each of which had a claw that seemed capable of tearing apart a human. He smirked as he turned to face his new knight, knowing that this would be a difficult battle. You think you can manage this one? He made a joke about Albedo getting ready for battle. She started to cast her magic before rushing in ahead. Naruto followed after her because he would not let anyone fight alone. He did know that his shadow Akali had already been following him. He did know she was too damn stubborn. When the axe cut into the monster, it roared in agony. Naruto attacked one of the armored knights while Akali attacked the other. Naruto knew that these 2 had to be killed first because he could not allow any of them to escape alive in order to alert their master. He needed time to hit him before he found out who was killing his men, so he had to make sure everything was in order before that bastard found out that he of all people was after him. He had to make sure he cut off all communication with him after he realized he was here. The members of Konoha were attacked by more lesser demons. They still were having a hard time dealing with them. Ari, on the other hand, just moved to help them out. That was simply due to the fact that she had known that would be what he would want her to do. This land will belong to our master. Do you really think you can thwart his plans? Knight warned him. He will make it a soulless place where he can reap whatever he desires, but Naruto simply gave him a glare in return. So he intends to bring people here only to later take their souls. That bastard will never get these lands or the people in it. He will be stopped no matter what. Naruto countered back. No one can stop our master, not some weakling like you. The knight quick moved to stab Naruto only for Naruto to simply grab the knight's hand. How he was going to show this fool his place. Naruto started to speak, and after few words he started to break the knight's hand with his newfound strength. He did love when people thought he was weak. It just made killing them that much easier. Scathach took advantage of the opportunity to pierce the knight's back with her spear. Naruto gave her an irritated look, but she just smirked because she liked occasionally ruining his fun and didn't want him to flaunt his strength in front of strangers. Unlike Ari, who was his lover, Scathach was his bodyguard and his lover, but her responsibilities to him came first. She was the most devoted to him in that she would never dare cross him, even if it was for his own good. Ari was helping Akali along with Sona. He just smiled because it was nice seeing these 3 working together. He turned his focus back to the monster that his new knight was handling damn well. She was strong all around with remarkably high defense. He wondered if he should help. He just figured it would be a good idea to show that he did care for her. That and the other reason would be to not let herself get too worn out. They did not know what would happen after this fight. He waved Scathach to follow him. He moved to attack the monster from the back with a futon-based jutsu, Scathach had attacked from the right side of the beast. This was not the first beast that she would drop. He did know that this thing would take a lot more to bring down, more than he wished to show off. The beast had sent Scathach right into Naruto, causing her to fall on top of him. This is not the time for that, maybe later but not right now. He joked to her before he gave her a kiss. Slowly the two of them got back to their feet. You own me later then, she stated before going back to fighting. How many are there, exactly? Kiba yelled. As many as there is, just shut up and keep killing them. Ari ordered back. When did you become our boss? He retaliated. When fending off another demon attack, Hana put her brother in his place and said, just shut up little brother, we got a job to do. Naruto currently was on the monster's back, although he had slammed his fist into its back to stun it for a moment. That gave Albedo enough time to cut one of its two heads right off. The lizard head rolled over to the shinobi group. They looked and could not believe how strong she was. They also could not understand where Naruto learned all his powers. Naruto jumped off while Scathach caught him in air. She helped him to his feet before giving him a smirk. How she loved to tease him. She did know he did not need her help, yet she wanted to catch him. Soon they noticed the thunder striking the monster. He looked to see Ingrid holding a golden sword before she summoned a flaming strike on it. He did not know she was a mage, yet it just made buying her even better. He looked at the roaring monster. He did know he wished this thing would die already, but it was taking too damn long to drop it. Naruto, who knew that this war had just begun, looked back at the dead monster before realizing that Nightmare truly wanted this land. He did believe it was more than just breeding souls for him to eat. Something else had to have caused that monster to come all the way over here. After they finally put it down, he walked over to the group while they regrouped before going to the client's house. How did you get to be that strong? Last I checked you were nowhere near this level. Kiba responded. Training, to the point where I pass out then do it all over again. I never stop pushing myself to the breaking point, which is how I am strong, but we have another problem. Naruto noticed Mist Shinobi at the home. The client's house was more akin to a dilapidated hotel, and he could see a lot of Mist Shinobi wandering around carelessly because they didn't think anyone would hire someone from another village to deal with them. Naruto detested anyone who would be willing to work for a jerk like Gato. Naruto half insulted the Neko masked Anbu by saying, at least these ones you can manage, if I am not mistaken that is. I swear, going make you regret this one day. That was her only comeback while her team made their way to the hotel. Before leaving them, he said, I will be taking care of a few things, but they will help you deal with these enemies although Ariheim and Akaliheim you are coming with me. It wasn't like him to use anyone as bait, but sometimes you have to make do with what you have, and he wasn't going to use his own people as bait. He had a few things he needed to do while they kept their enemy busy, and eyes on the Konoha shinobi group would help him. Where are we going Narukoi? The fox asked. She promised to bring additional assistance to meet up with our extra help. Your sister is leading them, but I'm not sure who this new help is, he told her as he strolled. Yusaka-chan is here. Yes, once more, I'm not sure who she is bringing. He grinned and said, I know she said that not all of them are ready to submit to me yet, and I might need to work on others. He liked receiving presents from his pets. Naruto-kun, what do you think of this war so far? I mean these shinobi village do not even understand what they are truly getting themselves into. Akali questioned, I mean to work with demons, more like being enslaved by demons from the looks of it. I do not know to be honest, which I did not think Nightmare would be here nor would his demons be here. All of my plans are altered by this new event, but I still have to deal with them. We have the firepower, we just need to use it properly. This may be our group's first significant challenge. When he arrived at the rendezvous, he saw his fox lover, who was just waiting for him. She appeared to be a young woman with long blonde hair and a figure that could be described as voluptuous. He thought about how much he liked to play with that body and touch it. She was wearing what appeared to be a yellow kimono, golden obi, and black pelt with gold skulls. The best part of the kimono, in his opinion, was that it was open at her shoulders, providing a large view of her enormously grand breasts, which he loved so much. Her hair was tied back in a traditional hair ornament, and she had 9 golden tails behind her. She turned around when she saw that he was admiring her enormous ass. She turned back around before walking over to them. He did know that kimono was a bit loose on her, which he loved, due to making it easier to grab her from behind. When she got to him, she pulled him into a lover embrace, which he just grabbed her ass. Nothing ever changes with you, does it, dear? She made fun of it. Can you really blame me? I mean, you look like a goddess. Who could not want to look at you in such ways? How are things at Yusaka home? He simply asked. You are aware that I am capable of managing myself, but I am doing well. I even have my little fox with me so she can meet you again. She always asks so many questions about her future mate. She hummed out. I am always glad to meet her. Plans changed since we last talked. I want you to help no one unless they are going to die, because Nightmare's followers have shown up. They were going to be evaluated for this training, and since I won't allow anyone to die as a result of it, do you understand if they are going to die? He questioned her. So, the one that hurt my dear Naruto may be here. I would love to tear them to pieces, even if it's just his supporters. Even though I know he took her soul away, you could have done nothing to save her that day, and I still detest seeing you in pain, sweetie. Now for the looking after your team, I do understand, and I will be their guardian fox. She laughed a bit at the end. Just remember that you still own me and that you will reward me later. She teased again. After all, you were the one who told me I would be pregnant with your child soon. Do you really need to bring that part up, because you do know I am standing right here? Ari growled out, due to hear sister talking about being pregnant. Yes, I do see you, little fox. I bet he will give you one too in time. Just be a good girl and wait your turn, Ari-chan, my sweet little sister, she teased again, focusing only on her sister. I still cannot believe you have her with you, my little niece. She is safe with one of our sisters, so behave or I will have to tell her that you are not listening to your eldest sister. She warned her with humor. Wait, she is here. Ari went pale fast. Why did she come here with one of my other daughters and my granddaughter? Kurama complained. I swear my kids hate me. What can I say? He joked back to the fur ball. I am good at taming foxes, and I do give lost foxes a good home to live at. I hate you. Naruto just looked at the two of them. He would hate to break up this touching moment, but they were in middle of a war. Now, with her group's help we should be good. Naruto told the three of them. Group A will assist these Konoha fools, while Group B will continue to eliminate Gato. What is your end goal to all this? Why take this mission on, dear? Yusaka questioned him. I want to conquer these areas so that I can use them as a base for upcoming conflicts. These places conceal a lot of things that are hidden from view and that no one is aware of. He grinned, knowing that there are a lot of forgotten secrets buried here. These hidden things are almost as old as time itself. I did have feeling that there was something you were after here, so it is the land itself that you wanted. Akali finally opened up. Yes, it is good to make a main base here. One where I can gain money and power over time without having to focus too much on it. He acknowledged, it just makes my life easier if I can take this land without using force to get them to agree to work for me. That sounds like a lot of work. Are you certain it will be worthwhile? Yusaka asked. It will be worth it, and who did you bring with you? He simply asked. I did bring few sexy ones, few cute ones, but what will my reward be? She teased. I wonder how well you will be thanking me, dear, before circling him as if he were her prey. We will proceed with our plan until they prove to be beneficial. I need get back to see if the rest of this group is handing themselves or not. Naruto told her before heading back to the hotel. He did know they should be able to oversee some humans even if they were trained shinobi. He still had soft side for the ones he cared about. That was the one thing he did know he had to keep without letting himself fully become a monster like the ones he was in a war with. When they got back to the hotel, they noticed that the fighting had ended. He noticed only bodies on the ground were enemies, not any of his. That was a sign that he enjoyed, to see a mission going perfectly without any losses on his side. He did not care how many he had to kill to keep it that way. Before he realized who he needed to talk to, he could see everyone tending to each other's injuries. Bridge builder, I need a word alone with you, he said. So, let us get going now, okay? He merely inquired before moving to a different area of the hotel to have a private conversation. The older man did not know what Naruto wanted with him, but he knew he was strong and that his group was more powerful than the other Konoha members, so he hesitantly followed him. After they entered the room, he simply shut the door and turned to face the older man, wondering how he would respond to his offer. I have a deal for you, one that can greatly make Land of Wave into much more rich land, he began. Yo guys, it's RyugaXD. You already know YouTube has its limit size, so if you want to see the spicier, uncensored, and exclusive stuff I can't post here, check out my Patreon. That's where I drop all my 18+ lemon content, early uploads, and more. Links in the description. Come join the fun.